I think one player that deserves a lot of recognition, look, you can't not focus on Salah because the milestone that he's achieved today, joint most goals in a single club, joint most goal involvement, sorry, for a single club, and now 250 goals for Liverpool. That's quite outstanding.
It's phenomenal when you think about it, and you know, for the amount of money that we actually signed him for. You know, he wasn't a relative unknown. People were aware of him, but they thought it was a lot of money for that potential.
Did you expect the sort of impact that he would make?
No, I didn't. But you know, from the very first time we saw him play, score the goal, and then he just never looked back. And to sit here now and think we've had him now for 8 years. I think this is his 9th season. He's been absolutely phenomenal, not just in terms of his performance and his work ethic, but in the relentless standards that he drives day in, day out. And he lifts everybody else around him, and he makes everybody else become better and achieve better and believe in better. So I think that's probably why you see him, you know, not celebrating his goal today. He's been frustrated. He's probably disappointed that they've been below standards, and he doesn't like it.
Yeah. I think one underrated thing about Salah is, despite the fact that now he's going through a bit of a dip in form by his standards at the moment, throughout the season, he's always been very consistent, Gary. I mean, he's delivering season after season, and I think his availability as well is one that people maybe don't take note so much.
Yeah, you know, in order to hit those sorts of numbers, you have to play week in and week out, and that's what Mo Salah manages to do, because he looks after himself on and off the field. You know, not only is he a clever footballer on the pitch, but he's also very clever at making sure that he doesn't get knocks and kicks and bumps, and you know, he gets out of the way of challenges. And I believe on the training park and around the training ground and at home, you know, he's very strict with his regime. What he eats, what he drinks, when he sleeps.
When I spoke to Ryan Graham about a couple of days ago, I did ask him who's the one player that surprised him a lot when he came to decide. He said Salah, because he didn't expect Salah to be so regimented in his diet, in his exercise. The discipline that Salah has shown, and to some level, he said, inspired him as well, because he led by example. But when you look at him and you compare that record against Rooney as well, can you argue that Salah perhaps is more influential to this Liverpool side than Rooney was for United?
Well, I guess you can spin it whatever way you want, but you know, David made a really good point when we were chatting a little while ago about, you know, if Wayne Rooney had actually been as professional off the field and generally with his well-being as Salah, what might Wayne Rooney have achieved? You know, listen, what Wayne Rooney achieved was amazing, but with a little bit more professionalism in certain situations, could have done even better. Absolutely,
but I think it is the environment that you know you grow up in, and you know, obviously Mo Salah he come from the background he has and the religion he has, the faith that he's got.
Sure.
I think that's definitely helped him, helped shape the man and the person he is today, but also the professional. And when you talk about discipline, you know, it's not just off the field how disciplined he is. He's actually so disciplined on the field. I mean, some of the times you watch him and you think he's on the peripheral of games. He's actually staying disciplined wide on the touchline, creating space for other people to shine. Yeah. And he's not afraid to make other people shine and look good and take the credit. And that's what's unique about Mo Salah. He absolutely allows people to shine and brings out the best in other people.
Dare I ask you the question? If you had a preferred 11 between Salah and Rooney, who would you pick?
Oh, do you know what? Right, that is a really difficult question.
Can we not get them both in the same team?
Yeah, can we squeeze him in? I'll put Mo on the bench. But one thing I will say about Wayne Rooney, he was an absolutely phenomenal athlete. Even with, you know, he might have liked the chocolate bar, he might have liked the drink, he might have liked a cigarette, I don't know. But he was an absolute phenomenal athlete for a sustained period of time, to score the amount of goals he did for Manchester United, phenomenal. An all-time legend, and to score the goals for England like he did, with the injuries that he carried across some of the tournaments as well, is absolutely phenomenal. So he's one of the best players that I ever played against and witnessed personally, because sometimes when you're on the pitch with greatness, you're fully aware you're on the pitch with greatness, and I was when I played against Wayne Rooney.
It was just that natural talent, it was just something in him, wasn't
it was his drive, it was determination, but also it was there was a ferocious power about him. There was decision-making process was almost perfect. You know, we never saw him do a step over, a double scissors or a Cruyff turn. He was constantly making the right decision, and then he was occupying space, and his work rate off the ball was phenomenal. He was an absolute specimen. He was very unique, and in my eyes, he was possibly one of the most underrated English footballers of all time.
Yeah. You know, when he came into the Everton side as a boy, basically, he was a man. It's true, you know, wasn't he? He was that powerful.
He was very powerful, and he was very physically strong.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you get these athletes, don't you? You get them from, you know, working class backgrounds. This guy was incredibly strong. He was incredibly aggressive from such a young age. And you had grown men that were scared to play against him. I remember some of the games that we played, some of our centre-backs who were, you know, had a lot of appearances under the belt and were physically big men, did not want to go near the vicinity of Wayne Rooney. He was an absolute specimen of a footballer. In
that way, is he underrated, Gary?
In that way, yes. Do I underrate Wayne Rooney? No. You know, top end as a footballer. Look at his numbers. We've just done it. Look at Mo Salah's numbers. You know, for me, you know, that is the greatest measure of players. Those vital numbers.
I think you mentioned one important thing there, and it's the numbers that Wayne hit. Phenomenal. But if you think about what he brought to the team in terms of defensive work rate and tackles and aggression and pressing from the front and even getting back into right-back situation, what he brought was a total unique package, a totally unique package. And I don't think there'll be another footballer who can bring that sort of package in this modern game.